as a replacement for animal therapy in nursing homes, which is really kind of awesome.
So she built planets on Earth, you guys.
My life dick history has been on the larger size. I had no idea.
That's some funny shit. How could you be in a relationship and not realize that, and this is BK. We talk about BK. BK is before Keith. BK. We don't talk specifically, but before Keith, this person that I'm sitting with was in a relationship and didn't realize that their partner had a big dick, and only knew because they heard somebody else talking about it.
Yeah.
And was like,
that motherfucker got a big ass dick.
She was like, what?
That's the only way I knew.
Really? This shit right here?
Him?
This is big?
That's a big dick?
That's a big dick?
Oh.
That ain't no big deal. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's a tic tac. Like, really? That's it? Oh, okay. Like, that's that's the funniest thing to me.
I didn't know. Nobody
Gossip
taught me.
told her that one of the people, BK.
She said, and I remember her face, I remember her name. She was like, damn, I miss him.
The Triggered Project presents.
What does that mean for me if I need help that way? And who am I going to ask? And who am I going to talk to? And where am I going to go?
You need to understand what's going on in your community. You need to understand what it's like to take the bus in your community and what you don't have access to.
There's such a fear of actually trying to face the hardest thing that you've ever had to face because you're not sure what else is going to come with it.
Being triggered, it sort of never goes away.
Triggered is a buzzword, and the kids have picked up on it. Yo, the way you talking to me right now, yo, you got me mad triggered. I need to talk to the nurse.
We're really not meant to have lasted as long as we have.
No, you were supposed to mess this up a long time ago.
Y'all can't see me, but straight side eye right now.
This is Living a Triggered Life.
For more information on the Living a Triggered Life podcast, go to www.triggered1.com.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our very special live podcast taping of Living a Triggered Life. I'm James Monroe. I'm the producer of adult programs and theater experiences here at the Museum of Science, Boston, and I'm so excited to be introducing this really wonderful night. I'm also thrilled to be standing here in front of a live in-person audience here in Connors Theater. It's very exciting. We are obviously a limited capacity, but you are all very enthusiastic, I can tell already. You are all fully masked, socially distanced, safe enough distance away from us here on stage, so we thank you for being here. We're also live streaming this out to a virtual audience who's watching with us on YouTube right now, so a huge hello to our digital friends out there. Thank you for tuning in. Just a few final house announcements before we get started for those of you who are here in person. If you need to leave the program early for any reason, we ask you do so by going up the stairs and through the exit in the rear of the theater if possible. We also ask you to pull out those cell phones, silence them. We are taping tonight as a podcast episode, so we'd like the house to be as quiet as possible. But we are so excited to be here tonight with the team from the Living a Triggered Life podcast, Keith and Roxann Mascoll, and they are joined tonight by our very special guest, Emmy Award-winning producer and host of The Real, Jeannie Mai Jenkins. Yes, you can give her a round of applause. Come on. It's a Thursday night. We're here. It's exciting. And they're here tonight to have a conversation about how our trauma and our mental health can impact our relationships, our marriages, our family dynamics, and so much more. They're going to go deep tonight, and we're just so honored that we could host this podcast and this event. Now, tonight is just a part of our current fall season of adult programming here at the museum. We have an incredible lineup of events and experiences every week now through December, so I encourage you to check out our full lineup and pick up your tickets for all of those by going to mos.org/adults. Pretty easy to remember. If you want to learn more about all of our special guests tonight and their work, you can do so by checking out our Living a Triggered Life podcast virtual program. If you're visiting with us in person, you can just scan the QR code on the signage outside of the theater on your way out. And if you're joining us virtually, you can scan the QR code that'll be on your screen a little bit later on. And finally, a little bit later on, Keith and Roxann and Jeannie will be taking some of your questions. So if you do have a question at any time, you can quietly pull out your smartphone and go to slido.com and enter the code TRIGGEREDLIFE, all one word, just as it appears on the screen right now. And they'll try and get through as many of those a little bit later on as they can. I need to thank our friends from the Science Sandbox, which is an initiative of the Simons Foundation, for their ongoing support of the adult programming here at the museum. We would not be here without them, so just sending a huge thank you to our friends at Science Sandbox. But now it is my honor to get this night going and to welcome to the stage first from the Triggered Project, co-hosts of the Living a Triggered Life podcast, your co-hosts tonight, Keith and Roxann Mascoll. And then last but definitely not least, our very special guest tonight. We're so honored to have her here. She is the Emmy Award-winning producer and host of the Fox daytime TV talk show, The Real, a philanthropist, and a newly pregnant mom-to-be. Please welcome Jeannie Mai Jenkins.
Welcome to Living a Triggered Life podcast with Keith
And Roxann, presented by the Triggered Project.
To find out more information about the Triggered Project, go to www.triggered1.com. Welcome to Living a Triggered Life podcast. I'm Keith Mascoll, and I'm with
Roxann Mascoll.
And we are so excited to be here because we are live at the Museum of Science in Boston, Massachusetts, and we have a very special guest with us this evening, Emmy Award-winning producer and host of the Fox daytime show, The Real, philanthropist, and newly pregnant mom-to-be, Miss Jeannie Mai Jenkins. What's good?
Hi, how you doing?
Hello,
Hi, everybody.
honey.
What's up, Boston? Yes.
Hey.
Boston, and this energy is so dope. I don't get to come out to Boston a lot, so to be invited here is such an honor. Thank you so much.
No, thank you so much, because not a lot of
Yes.
people come to Boston, to be honest with you.
Oh, you gotta throw that in there.
I gotta keep it at 100. Like most of the time, we gotta go other places to see people in concerts and things like that. We're lucky that Jill Scott showed up like 15 times. So you know what I mean. So it's a big deal. So thank you so
Yeah,
much.
of
Thank
course.
you
Yes,
so
thank you.
much for being here. It means a lot to us. So let's jump in. And we usually start out with a check-in. That's just how we do. So Roxann really doesn't care about me. So I always start out with her and say, "What's up, Rox? How you doing?"
Why are you gonna do me like that? I mean, we got a guest from out of town, and you still doing the same damn thing.
Well, I mean, like, it's not going to change.
All right.
We keep
I'm
it 100.
good.
We keep it 100.
I'm doing my check-in.
Okay, sorry.
I'm good. I had a rough day today. I had to really show out to protect the people that I work with. Sometimes you need somebody to show up for you. So I was showing up for people today. I was showing up for my people. So I am so happy to be ending my day like this, though, because the beginning was rough. I wasn't sure what was going to happen. But I'm good. I'm so much better now.
Yeah. And I know, Roxann, you're not really going to ask me, so I'm just going to say how I'm doing.
Keith, how you doing, boo?
Oh, thank you, Rox. I appreciate that. Anybody who's
happy
listening,
to see you,
anybody who's
babe.
listened to the podcast, you know this is what happens. She never asked me anything about myself and how I'm doing.
I explained to you what that was all about.
Okay, so we have new company.
Oh, you don't want me to tell you now then?
No, you can tell me whatever you want to tell me.
I'm just saying, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to being like in front of people, eyeballs on me. So I get like lost in my head and I have all these questions and all these ideas and thoughts, but it's just darkness.
Right, but when we're in the studio by ourselves, none of that matters. Anyway,
might be right.
so
But remember, there's things called the 5 love languages where Roxann's way of checking in on you may be a totally different way than just asking questions. Did she make some meals for you recently? Has she
No.
given you some affection?
No.
Has she kissed you?
a little bit.
Okay. I know she checked out your outfit earlier. She gave you a really nice compliment. So
Right.
there are other ways, like in Asian culture, like ain't nobody ever gonna ask you how you're doing.
You know
but they'll
what?
tell you that you look fat, or they'll tell you that you need to like
Puerto
eat
Ricans
more.
are like that too.
They're like, eat more. You too skinny. It's too skinny. And I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, that means you love me. I got
Right.
it. I heard the
Yes.
message.
No,
Yes,
I no.
thank
You know
you for
what?
that.
Thank you for that. I really appreciate that because she really doesn't care about my outfits. To be perfectly honest
I
with
do
you,
care about your outfits.
people always like, who dresses you? Me.
Yes, you do a very good job.
That's it. But let me get back to just this. I digress. Let's get back to just the check-in. I feel really blessed, to be honest, to have this opportunity, to have this platform, to have you here. And it's been rough lately. I can't lie. I'm emotional right now because sometimes as a survivor, when we speak up and we tell the truth, it doesn't mean that people don't continue to try to hurt us. And my abuser's been continually trying to hurt me. You know what I'm saying? Putting bills in my name, using my Social Security and things like that. And so that's difficult. And it got confirmed, this week. And, other families involved as well. So it's been tough for me. But I'm doing the best I can with it. You know what I'm saying? Trying to figure out what that wellness package is and create art and everything else. But it's rough right now. It's rough. It's real. And I can't run from that. You know what I'm saying? I can't. Because this work is bigger than me. And so, but I got to make sure that I'm okay, so then I can go and do this podcast and try to be the best I can for her and everything. So that's kind of where I am. But it's all good. But what's up, Jeannie?
What's up, Keith?
How you doing? How's the baby? How's everything? Tell us what's up.
Thank you for asking. I just want to say, though, on just a little bit of what you're going through, you're right, it's not easy. And when you come to realization of what you have been through, then comes the onset of dealing with it, right? And what helps me to remember always is that trauma is never your fault, but healing is your responsibility.
Yes.
Yes.
So all of this process, as icky as it is, as annoying, as downright you want to, get somebody for it,
Right.
it's part of the process that will prune you to become the greatest, most mighty man that you can possibly be. So embrace that. Embrace it.
Yeah.
And thank God you have a support system and you have this. This is therapy.
Yeah.
And I don't mean
Yes.
just this sitting here, but your bravery to have a podcast that invites you to be honest about your truth.
Yeah.
Those are your lifesavers in order for you to get through it. And I promise you, I would even mark like today and 1 year from now, we touch base.
Right.
And I promise you will see a clearing that you would only have seen if you got through it this way.
Yeah.
So I encourage you.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate those words. That means a lot.
Yes, of course, of course.
But I'm going to flip it back on you. Jeannie, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. This is a really, really unique part of my life right now, I, as you guys may or may not know, I recently announced, publicly that I'm pregnant. And
Right.
if you've ever been pregnant or you've never, for me, being a new mom, the beginning, you're just doubtful that you can be good enough, and then you're afraid of getting too excited because I did miscarry once already, so you don't know if you get too excited and then you tell people, and then what happens if the baby doesn't make it, then you gotta go around and tell everybody that didn't make it. So going public was really big for me, and then as soon as I went public, the first question that everybody asked was why?
Right.
Why did you choose to become a mom? Because all my life, if you've known my work on television or me talking to even friends, I've always been very adamant about not being a mom. So for me, coming to answer that for myself was important, you know, because even though I'm not super social, I always say that I'm an introvert.
Yeah.
Being around people allows me to ask the questions that you guys ask me that I wouldn't ask myself. Like if it happened, then I know I'm in the process and I know I'm okay and I'm ready to be a mom.
Right.
But when you really ask it, like, why are you ready to be a mom now when for 40 years you said no, you didn't want to do it?
Yeah.
I really got to sit down and ask myself, why are you ready? So that process for me is what I'm in right now.
Right.
And it's a little hard in the sense of realizing some truths about myself and then also realizing when you've been lying to yourself. Like that's kind of crazy too. When you call yourself out, like, yo, you always said this, but that's just an easy way out of really dealing with what you had to deal with.
Right.
And that's where I'm at right now, and I love it. I'm that weird person. You know how some people love to pop pimples for fun? Like I like popping my own emotional pimples. I love getting in there, get that black one. I like that. So I'm in that right now, and it's fulfilling.
Yeah.
Because I think that everybody knows when you step into a new transition in your life, whether it's a new job, getting out of a relationship, going through divorce, getting married, having a baby, you really should sit down and have like a kind of like come to Jesus moment with yourself of like, you're stepping on to the next level, you know? And my favorite pastor says this, Joyce Meyer, she says, new level, new devil. And that's basically saying that with the new level, it doesn't come easy. You don't just all of a sudden put your new nameplate at your new job and all of a sudden like, let's do this, everything's all good, or step into a new marriage and y'all are in honeymoon land and it's perfect. No, there will be new devils, new responsibilities, new challenges, new
things you didn't see
financial woes, things you didn't see, or maybe things you didn't handle that are gonna come up full 3D to you. So that's kind of where this is. I'm like, okay, what is the new devils that I gotta be ready
baggage.
for?
Right.
Other people's baggage, my favorite topic.
Right. No question. Did you want to ask her a question? To something that came to you?
Why did you get that sense from me?
Yeah, like that's how we work.
I mean, I was
just
really
saying.
into what she was saying. I was just sort of thinking about for myself, because you asked me a question backstage about how do you know that if you don't have kids? We were just talking. And it took me a moment. I think I was a little off guard for a second when you asked. And I was just sort of like, and I had said this to Keith, and thinking about you coming, you know, I have never talked about, and no one's ever actually asked us why we don't have kids. And most of the people around me will say, oh, you're such a mother hen because you're always sort of taking care of people.
I could see that.
And so, you know, when we listening to you and that question back there, I just wanted to be able to say that trauma took that away from me. Because I wasn't sure if I was not going to fuck up a kid. Because I'm a fucked up kid. So I had this real battle back and forth throughout our relationship where I was like, I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I'm ready. I'm scared. I don't know if I'm ready. And so on some level, I let trauma take it away from me. And on some level, I let the person who abused me, my dad, take that away from me. And now he's gone, and I don't have that. And I will not be able to reclaim that. And I say that not to dampen the moment, but to say, recognize what you need to recognize, deal with it so that you can fulfill your life's journey. I probably would have been a beautiful, fabulous mother, especially next to this dude who has always had my back, and I will never be able to reclaim that in that manner. And that's okay. I'm not sad about it. But claiming the moment and understanding, which is what you were referring to, understanding what I lost. And sort of being kind of like, yeah, that shit happened, but I'm okay. I'm good. I have other treasures and talents to offer the world, and this is one of them.
Yeah, no, thank you for saying that. And just, you know, we just have to acknowledge, you know, our two God kids that are great, Coleman and, you know,
By Renice.
my Beijing baby by Renice. you know, who has the same Bayesian forehead that I do, and is just as playful as I am, and those are two joys in our life. But you know, thank you for sharing that, and it is something that we haven't talked about, and it is something that has been difficult for me as well, because you know, I always felt like I didn't want to pass my shit to my child, right? The intergenerational trauma, you know, of this sexual abuse that's kind of been in my family, but also just other shit, right? It just got me really kind of apprehensive, and like didn't feel like we were straight. You know what I'm saying? Or in a place that like, wow, like, you know, we struggle sometimes to take care of each other. Like, how are we gonna take care of a child? You know what I'm saying? And so like that was the fear, you know. And so it's something, it was a hard decision and things, and but we, you know, we made it individually and then made it together. Yeah, you did. You know what I'm saying? So so thank you for that honesty as always, Rox. You know I love you to pieces. You know what I mean? And you know, there's nothing we can't do. So if you want to adopt a dog, like
Does
I'm
somebody
down.
record that? Because I've been asking to adopt a dog for a while. Somebody get that on film, please.
You know I get amnesia from time to time. But
Convenience.
no, thank you for that. I just think that's just real. So Jeannie, thank you for even, you know, you talked about it on Instagram and things like that, and I started another conversation between me and her.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. And you know, let me just say, you know, I've been following you for a long time, which I told you about, and the fact that you've always been authentic, the fact that you did go on the reel and disclose, and that meant so much to me as a survivor. But also to talk about your relationships and things like that. And so, you know, it made sense for us to talk to you. And so thank you for always just being real, like, you know, pun intended.
Yeah, no, thank you.
But I got to ask the question, like, why the hell you wanted to come to Boston to talk to us? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, people are like, why is Jeannie Mai coming to Boston to talk to Keith and Roxann?
You know, honestly, the name of your podcast triggered me. Living a Triggered Life, that is a beautiful way of owning if you have been traumatized. Yeah. Whether it was in your childhood, whether it was just last year, whether it's in a current relationship, trauma doesn't have to be somebody coming up to you in the middle of the night when you get off the bus and clock you on the head, you know, with a metal object. It can be somebody just verbally spewing things at you for a long time where you just internalize it. Right. It could be being in a relationship where you start to perform or be a different personality because you want to appease this person, but you don't realize that you're feeling trapped, or you're feeling afraid to mess up something. It could be generational trauma that passes down to you. It could be poverty. It could be anything, right? So it's hard to find a person that doesn't live a triggered life. And I know for me, as soon as I owned that I have triggers, I was much more capable of calling them out and starting to heal. And my husband is a big part of that, you know? I don't think walking into that relationship with him that I knew I was living a triggered life. And we can talk more about that in a bit. But when I saw your podcast title, I was like, I am here for anybody who makes it their business. Like when I say making it their business, I'm talking about like you literally open the wounds, as uncomfortable as it may be, to talk about your shit, to talk about my shit, so that we can all gain some gems from that together and heal as a group. Yes. You know, because obviously I do believe that hurt people can hurt people, but healed people can heal people. And so what you guys are doing here is a great service to all of us, and I should be thankful to you guys because you're healing me in the process of having me here. So thank you.
No, thank you. That's
awesome.
Wow. That's I'm emotional. I can't help it.
Who knew you sharing the deepest, darkest parts of your life was going to bring what it has brought to us? We've been really blessed by just sharing our truths. and putting ourselves out there. More you than me, because you do a lot of the behind the scenes. I just show up and make sure I do my part and support you. But just understand something, right? This is supposed to be fucking happening, right?
Yes, right.
This is supposed to happen. She's supposed to be here.
Yep.
They're supposed to be here witnessing this. It's supposed to happen.
Yeah, I did think about it, but I forget. So
We just have to embrace. You tell me this all the time. Be present.
yeah,
Don't just see the negative, see the positive.
yeah.
Embrace it. You tell me that all the time. That's where you at, boo. Embrace this. This woman right here just threw us like all kinds of love in that answer.
Yeah.
I mean, love that we wouldn't expect,
Yeah.
right? But it came our way. And that's been happening because we're speaking the truth, because we are utilizing our essence with the world. And that's what happens.
Yeah, no, I felt it. That's why, because I am president and vulnerable, and I felt that love. And so, I got emotional. I'm not upset about that at all.
All right, just making sure I'm
no,
checking
you know
in.
better. You know better than that. I'm not upset about that also. I get moved from time to time because I've thought about this. When you think about it, when you have, level 14 pain from shingles, and you think about everything, and then it happens, you're like, just in that moment, there's no way that you can't be emotional about that. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of this work, came from pain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you for that. Let's keep moving. So, how does the trauma affected your relationships, with your family and and personal? Because you talked about it a little bit.
Yeah. I think the first part of realizing that trauma affects all parts of my relationships, my personality, my, going through 20 and 30, I only came out about my sexual abuse at 40. Right. So I have a YouTube channel called 𝗟𝗏, and on this channel, I confronted my mom because I really don't care about my abuser anymore. I know exactly where he's over there, and I don't care about that situation. Right. I cared more about what's still in my life, which is my mom. Mm. Yeah. And we had a major falling out for about, since I was about 13 to about 24, and now we're really close. Her name is Mama Mai. She's everything to me. She's so fun. She's vivacious. She's my alter ego, Yeah. But the one dark part that I had about my mom is why she bailed on me when I needed her, when I told her that I got raped. Mm. And when I was 9, and it was a family member that she approved to come and babysit me. Mm. So confronting her on my channel was the first time I had ever spoken about it. And when I tell you that freed everything within me. Yes. It made me think about something that I say all the time today, which is own the shit you hide, or the shit you hide will own you. Mm-hmm. And that's honestly my entire train of thought today, which is when I was hiding, not just the abuse, obviously you're not going to walk around telling people all the time that this happened to you, right. But when you hide that you're kind of chicken shit, if people who seem stronger than you will come in and take advantage of you or bully you, that you really are a people pleaser and you're embarrassed about it. Maybe you are insecure about your body in certain places, and you are supposed to, for me, and as Jeannie Mai, supposed to act all about it and supposed to act like I'm confident all the time. If I'm supposed to act like I've got all the answers, like I'm not owning that, no, I am flawed. I do have insecurities. I'm still figuring out how to stand up to people and say no. All these things that happened from my abuse and just becoming that personality, well, then that eventually owns me. When people call you out like, you ain't being real, you said this, but you're doing this. Or, you act like you're all confident, but you really don't carry yourself that way, or you know, if I read comments on Instagram, it does eat me up alive. I got to own those things. And so confronting my mom, for some reason, it not only unleashed a connection with my mom and to forgive and understand why she didn't know what to say at the time, and she owned that, but it also just made me go, whoa, when all the ugly surfaced about what has happened to me because of that type of trauma, all of a sudden it felt so much easier to tell people, like, no, I get anxiety when I go to a bunch of parties. I actually don't want to go to your crazy ass party, but you can come over to my house on, you know, next Friday. Right. Or, you know, if I'm wearing something that doesn't make me feel good about myself, looking out in the mirror and being like, Jeannie, you cute, but you don't like this because it makes you focus too much on this area and you don't like that area of your body. Right. So let's either go work out or find another outfit, but own that instead of just walking around, you know, looking like this and trying to wait for somebody, you know, or feeling apprehensive when somebody else points it out in you, you know? So I think in my 20s and 30s, I spent a lot of time trying to be something that I wasn't. I was trying to be more confident, trying to be more strong, try to be the person that can carry the persona that we all look up to, which is a strong, defiant woman who looks like she has all the answers. Right. But that really isn't me. At the end of the day, I'm that woman who is trying to heal, gain a better grip on what it is about myself and why I think the way I do, why I love the way I do, why I'm passionate about things, and why I don't care about certain things. And the more that I own that, the more I like myself, you know? Yeah. So I think from 20 to 30, when you ask what my trauma was like, I read somewhere that the 4 types of, you would probably know this more than me, Roxanne, but the 4 types of ways of dealing, the 4 types of effects that trauma can cause you is fight or flight, which we all know, freeze, and appease. Mm-hmm. And I've been through all 4 of those, all the way up until like 2 years ago, you know? I definitely fought a lot when I was younger. If you go back to 𝗞𝗲𝗏, and I come from the Bay, so if you go to the Independence High School, 𝗞𝗲𝗏 High School, Piedmont High School, these are all the high schools that I transferred to. All I did was fight. I don't know why, but that was my if somebody fucked with you, all you knew to do was just let's go, it's on. Right. Yep. And then the next thing was flight. You just ghost. I was so good at ghosting mid-20s. Like if I didn't like a guy because he maybe said something that felt too slick for me, or maybe I was dating somebody and then I got afraid of getting into the commitment, I knew how to ghost and I would flight, you know? Right. And then freeze, that was a big part of my 30s. I definitely remember times where I let people bully me, or I think even in my past marriage, I kind of froze at some points where I knew it wasn't right, but you freeze and you just don't know what to do. And then appease. I went through a big people-pleasing stage in my late 30s where if somebody wasn't happy, I would immediately be like, what can I do? Well, let me fix this. I'm sorry, even though I didn't do anything wrong. Right. But those people, they know how to prey on people who...
Yes, they do.
They know how to prey on you if they see like, oh, you want to try to please me. And so you become codependent on each other. Right. So I had to, cut bridges with friends, find how to clear that path. And so now I'm in a much healthier place because I think what I've done is I've done the work to really clean up my environment. You know what it was? I read this one time and I actually put it into practice. I read a quote that said, if a flower doesn't bloom, what do you blame? The flower or the environment? Right? So if this plant didn't bloom, we're not going to say, oh, this stupid fucking plant. This fucking sucks. Where'd you get this at? Exactly. Right. No, you're going to be like, there's no water in the jar, which there really isn't any water in the jar. Yeah. You're going to be like, there's no sun in here. It's dark as hell. We need some sun. We need some light. We need some soil. We need some water. Right. But we don't do that to ourselves. No. When we fail to bloom, or when we're not happy with ourselves, we shit on ourselves. We talk smack about ourselves. We let ourselves down, right? But really, you don't look at your environment. Are you around healthy people? Are you having healthy conversations, or are you all you doing sitting around a group of people that just talk shit about other people all day? Are you nurturing yourself? Are you getting the foods you need? Are you working out? Are you getting outside to actually see some fresh air? Yes. Are you filling your mind with good content? Or are you sitting there on the gram, all you're doing is just stalking and trolling and looking at negative things about people? Yeah. That was totally me. Yeah. I didn't have a healthy environment. I wasn't taking care of myself. I wasn't eating right. I kind of learned that. I actually was malnutritioning myself. I had a low-key eating disorder because I was keeping to about maybe 500 to 600 calories a day, total another side convo about not taking care of myself. I was in an unhealthy relationship.
Right.
I wasn't being real with myself. And then I also compared myself to people on the gram all day long. I had my algorithm was all people I wish I kind of was like.
Right.
So when I started to stop following things on Instagram and comparing myself to people that I don't really want to be like, and I got rid of friends and people that weren't healthy for my mental needs, and I really just started spending time by myself to start making myself start answering the hard questions and talking to myself.
Right.
That's when I started to bloom.
Yeah. So let's just go to that. I know, Roxann, this is your question. That you have a question?
No, go ahead. Go ahead. You do.
But so what is do you feel like you were ready to meet Jeezy? Do you feel like you had done the work, you know, to be able to see him go, yeah, and you were like, and you were like, yeah, like, because, you know, like, even when I met Roxann and we were talking about it and stuff like that, we both were a mess, but we had done enough work that we could see each other. And then we started that process of, you know, Roxann said it before, that our trauma kids grew up together. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, you going through so much, Jeezy having his hood trauma and the whole nine, what was the work that you had to do to be able to receive or to see that there was something beautiful in front of you?
Yeah.
So the two-part question is, one, did you feel like you were ready at that point? And two, what was the work that you feel like you did to be able to kind of receive that moment?
Yeah. I definitely think that if I met Jeezy 10 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, I wouldn't be as ready as I am now.
Right.
And I say that because when you do begin to do the work on yourself, you are truly capable of owning your truths. And the greatest gift to any relationship, and you guys might know this, is being self-aware enough to fix you or to fix the situation. Because who you are and what you're doing over there is not my business. You know, your perception of me is a reflection of you. But my reaction to you is an awareness of me.
Right.
So I got to work on myself, you know? So when he met me, I had already done so much work on myself that I was like, when I tell you guys confidence, Jeezy, it could have been juicy, it could be whatever. I was like, what do you have for me? Why should I give you my time of day?
Right.
And that's a sense of confidence I didn't have when I was 20 or when I was 30, you know?
Yes.
I really, because back then, if somebody, you know, gave me attention, I would immediately be like, hey, hi.
How you doing?
You know? But no, now it was like, why? Tell me why.
Yeah.
Right.
And I was just unbothered. Not in a cocky way, not in a mean way, just in a way of like, I know I am a queen. I know I'm that.
Right.
You know, I know this. So why do you know and show me?
Right.
And he's the same for him.
Yeah.
He was like, I'm the shit. You know, I'm Jeezy.
I'm the snowman.
Right.
Yeah.
And so you show me. And so both of us, it wasn't an ego thing. It was more of a...
No, of course. No.
It was more of a, wow, we know our worth so well that how are we able to spar so that we actually complement each other and roll the red carpet out for one another and make each other feel so esteemed, but at the same time, so served in this love that we have to create.
You know what it is, Rox?
What
we
is
talk
it?
about it all the
I
time.
know, we do
What is
talk
it?
about it all the time.
Y'all were mind fucking.
Ah!
Y'all were mind fucking. People don't
Yes.
talk about that.
Yes.
But you
People think that it's all about the physical.
No,
It's not.
It's not.
No.
It's so not.
Y'all were mind fucking for sure. And that's a beautiful
Yes.
thing. We don't think about it in that way, but when you're intellectually stimulated by somebody else, and you just, that synergy goes back and forth and things like that and whatever, and you know, when it just happens naturally, it's a beautiful thing.
But the piece about it is, which is what you said, when you're feeling the whole of yourself, right? So if I'm sitting like this, right, versus sitting up, arching my back, right? When you feel the whole of yourself, then you bring that to the relationship,
Right.
to the moment, to just all of it. And that's what happened with us, where we told you we weren't seeing each other when we first met for like 6 months. We just talked on the phone. We were mind fucking.
Yes.
And it was great.
It's true.
Because when we did come together,
Yeah.
it was just like firecrackers.
Right.
It was like, woo, yes.
Yes.
This is going to work.
No, it's so true. I actually, I never knew this, but I am a true sapiosexual, a person who gets turned on by, you know, the work that takes place between my ears, not the work between my legs.
Yeah.
You know, and I really enjoy that he is the same way.
Right.
And I think we both, you know, when we're younger, we went for what, you know, society really has an impression on you. So whether you're younger and you go for the hot, sexy dude that like all your friends be telling you about, or the guy
Right.
that hits you up on the club in the club, or the guy who has like the money or the cars, or all these things that you're supposed to think is fly, right?
Right.
But it wasn't until I quieted the noise and worked on myself that I was like, no, I actually really love intelligence. And I
Yes.
love sensitivity and vulnerability and deep conversations and
Right.
good sixth sense of humor, you know?
yeah.
These things that have nothing to do with the physical.
Right.
And so our first date was actually just, I think it was, gosh, like 6 to maybe 8 to 10 hours of just talking and
Right.
salsa dancing. He salsa danced too. That, I give him daps
That's
on that. Yes.
bomb.
But that alone just showed me like, oh my God, like we could not even touch the physical, and I'm good here. Like I'm
Right.
hot
I
and
can go
bothered
home
and I'm
now.
good.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
But you have to work on yourself in order to know these things. And that's why, like, anybody out there who's single, yo, this is a magical time for you. I
Yes.
envy you if you're single, because when you are quiet, that's when you can simmer the noise and listen to sound. The sound of your thoughts, the sound of your needs, the
Right.
sound of
Yep.
the things that you should work on.
Right.
And when you really date yourself and take care of yourself, the right person who comes along and starts to be able to handle it as good as you did
Right.
is when you really start having quality dating.
Yeah, and but
Yes.
what's also important with that, and thank you for saying that, because that's important, is that, you know, even in this relationship and things like that.
Which
it's-
one? This one?
Well, I mean, I just met Jeannie. This is a newer
Oh, you talking about?
relationship.
Okay.
No, yeah, you.
Just checking.
That like it's important for her, like you were saying before, that like I try to do the best that I can be for me. She's being the best that she can for her, and then we come together. But it's important for me to have my quiet space. And
Yes.
it's important for her to have her quiet space, and I try to respect her quiet space as much as possible, because that's how she's doing exactly what you were telling the single folks to do. It's important that you do
Yes.
that in relationships.
So good.
Because if not, then you start to lose yourself, because you're connected, because we're so connected. There's like you know what I mean? The other night she was like, I felt some tension, and I was like, she was up, and I was like up. She's like, Ninja, why are you up?
I
And I
said,
was
"What are you
like,
doing?"
what are you doing? And I was like, yo, I feel that tension from you, yo. Yo, I feel it.
Freaking
And she was
weirdo.
like, you're stupid, go to sleep.
I was too. I was like,
But-
I'm having my me time right now. Go away.
But no, thank you for saying that, because that's important for us to have our time, and you know, to replenish, to find art, to write poetry, and all those great things. You have a question, Roxann? Why are you looking at me like that? Because you don't write poetry?
Do you write poetry?
I have a one-man show that I wrote a little bit with John Olawale Adekoje.
Whatever.
I do write
whatever.
poetry.
So I do have a question. This
Yeah.
is like, this might be a
Hater.
little off topic.
She's such a hater.
What's it like being with a black man? No, I'm just saying, because I had a drive-by. I hope nobody gets offended. I had a drive-by of a white man, and we got real close to it.
Well, you had a what?
I had a drive-by with a white man.
She's from the Bay, so that means something. That means something when you say that. So you got to be
Wait.
careful. She from the
break
Yay.
it down, break it
okay,
down for
she
me.
from the Yay. So you can't just be throwing out stuff.
Yeah,
You know?
break it down. Let's just make sure the clarity is here in the room. What's a drive-by, Roxann?
He showed up. He got naked. I said, hell no. And he went out the door.
He took out the gun, and it didn't happen.
I just couldn't do it. I was like, you smell weird. It was bad. I was trying. He was cute. He was cute, man, cute. I only do cute. But I got to a place where I was really clear. You must be a black man. I couldn't even fuck with Puerto Rican men, but I think my dad fucked that up for me. I think I could have been with a Puerto Rican man, but he fucked that up for me.
Yeah.
So I just was like, I had a little Puerto Rican boyfriend when I was in high school, though. And we would ride the train in New York up and down because I couldn't date boys. I couldn't do anything. So we would just ride the train and talk basketball. That was the only Puerto Rican man. That was my little boyfriend, Louis. I wonder what happened to him. But anyway, what I want to know, so I'm sharing my history because I want to know. Because
Louis,
I think
if you're out there, you know what I'm saying, find
get
Roxann.
in touch with me.
Hit
We
up
need to
Roxann
talk
on
basketball.
IG at... Jesus Christ.
So I'm asking because that's my experience. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going to try this out. And then I was like, that's a no. And when I was telling folks, my people close to me, that you were coming to talk with us, they were like, she said, papa, papa, papa. And I was like, really? Oh, I'm going to ask her what it's like to be with a black man. Because, they say when you go black, you never go back. So,
You know
just
what?
wondering if you
let's
have
not
any
talk stereotypes.
I'm just saying that's
just
what they
saying.
said. I didn't say it.
Honey, they saw the clip. They saw the clip.
I
just
guess
wanna
I
remind
did
you.
say it.
Okay, go ahead.
So I'm just wondering what it's like for you. Like, is it different? Is it the same? And it sounds like, I don't know. Of course, I don't know him personally. I just met you. But he sounds legit. But
he's
what is
dope.
it like?
He's dope.
I guess you're talking physically, right?
No,
you're talking-
just in
okay.
general.
No, in general.
Okay, 'cause I was
we
gonna
would've-
say-
I'm telling
Yeah.
you
No.
my
See,
physical.
Jeannie saw the clip too.
I was like, damn.
Jeannie saw the clip too. That's why.
No, my apologies. I
No,
was
we'd
not
never ask
speaking
that.
physically.
No,
I'm
no.
sorry. I'm
Survivor
sorry.
to survivor.
I
We'd
was
never ask
speaking.
that.
No.
No.
My apologies.
No, I'll
No.
tell you right now. So, like I said, from the very day that we dated, it definitely wasn't just a physical thing. It was all mental, if I'm honest, the way we became attracted to each other. And I've never been in that type of relationship before. That to me is new. When you're so attracted to someone mentally that all your physical starts racing because of how much you want to dig deep into this someone's brain, how much you want to learn about them. Yeah. So for me, when I'm intimate with my man, it is because of how much I know of him and how much I know he knows and how much I want to learn more about him. That is truly a completely different sexual high than I've ever had in anybody else. And then the mental high of it is also something that keeps me engaged and pumped for him. So that's just a Jeezy thing, right? That's just him. I think what I really love though about understanding Jay as a black man is really appreciating the depth of what he's come from. And I don't just mean his culture, his heritage, his family history, his ancestors, but also just where he's come from in his childhood.
Right.
Just coming from a place like Hawkinsville, Atlanta, how he had to take care of his family, how he had to buy a trailer for his family to survive and live in, how he had to help put his sister through school, how he had a son at 16, and how he managed to learn to become a man as he was raising one. It's just, those are the type of things that really teach me the esteem, respect I have for this man, and to be black in America.
Right.
On top of all that.
That's right.
He tells me stories about how he had to have white partners co-sign certain paperwork for him because they wouldn't give him the rights to go and buy a building that he wanted to buy.
Right.
Or to go and make the business moves that his white counterparts could do because he was who he is.
Right.
And those are things I will never understand because I never grew up in it. So I have to learn. And that to me, when you learn the type of strife a person goes through just to survive in the same country that I live in, my mind is blown constantly by this being my husband.
Right.
And that being now the father of our child.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, thank you for that. And I
Yes.
think one thing that you know that's really interesting is that you're talking about, and I'm a survivor, you're a survivor, and that we go intellectual first, right?
Yeah.
In terms of
Interesting.
in terms of intimacy, right? So it seems like the intellectual part allows the rest of the body to be present.
Yes.
And so,
I never thought about
like,
it
it's just
like
something that
that.
I just thought about, and even
Roxmosis.
Well, you know what it is, because Roxann's a psychotherapist. There's something that happens that I call roxmosis, that I start talking like her, and I have no reason why. Like sometimes
He just did it. He just did it.
like I'm a therapist and I'm not. But yeah, that's
no,
I just
but
think
it's
that's
true.
really
No,
yeah.
but it's true.
Get
So
it.
one, I will say, let me just say, when I walk around with Keith in the world and realize and notice how people treat him, I have those moments of, like currently my thing is, I never want you to drive. That's my thing lately. I don't want you to drive because I'm scared. I'll drive.
Yeah.
Use my light skin. Maybe I'll get pulled over, maybe I won't, but I don't want you to drive. So I just want to sort of find a middle ground with you in understanding what you were saying. And then the other piece is, some people were like, why the Museum of Science? And I was saying to Keith, a lot of what we're talking about, this trauma, is all about the neurobiology of the brain.
Yes.
Right? Your
Shout
body
out to James
remembers.
Monroe. Shout out to James Monroe and the Museum of Science for having us. Okay.
Yes. Thank you. Your body remembers what happened to it.
Right.
And your brain has to, reprocess what happened to you.
Wow.
And so the brain piece, or using your brain, or sort of being inclined to sort of use your brain in that way, and then it connect to your body, is sometimes a way to sort of avoid the harm that was done to you. Right?
Yeah.
Because
Wow.
if you initially just, I work with a lot of young people. If the hookup scenario, if you initially just doing the hookup and your body's been harmed, it only takes a split second for that individual to do something that makes you question what's happening here. Am I safe? What do I need to do? Or sometimes what happens is your brain takes over and shuts everything down.
Right.
And so, it is surprising to hear that was something similar.
Yeah.
But when you really think about it, you have a little bit more control of the situation when you connect intellectually prior to the physical.
Right.
Yes.
You know that you're safe because you're in a conversation. Because my famous question has always been, for men who want to talk to me, what are your intentions? Right?
Right.
And that stops them in their, they stop in their tracks. They're like, whoa, what do you mean? Why are you asking me what are my intentions? And that's because I felt something in my body about what you were doing and what's going on. The energy didn't feel right. And I'm pausing you right now, and I'm giving you a heads up that you need to step away.
Right.
But not everybody has done the work to be able to do that. And so sometimes you can really control a situation being intellectual in the conversation, because then you can continue to scan, you can continue to listen, right? Look and understand, what am I seeing here? Am I all right? Am I going to be all right with you?
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's not across the board.
Right.
But, it makes sense in a way.
Yeah. No, thank you for that. We got to get to some. Jeannie, thank you so much.
Of course.
We have some folks have some questions.
Yes. They
So we're
do?
taking
All right.
wow, this is unbelievable. I thought people were going to ask about the clip, Roxann, but they haven't.
The clip, because they know what happened in the clip.
Okay. So here's a question, and I won't necessarily use the name, but have any triggers taken you over the edge, and what do you do to cope? I guess Roxann, you can start first.
Oh, I can? How come you're
Jeannie
not
and I
starting?
looked at each other and we were like, Roxann's going
Oh,
to
you
start.
both did this? And I didn't see it? So, we just had this conversation recently with 𝗙𝗏𝗏 the God for a quick second. We talked about using the word trigger versus activated.
Right.
Activated is more sort of closer to what's happening in your body and your
Right.
brain and, the whole scenario. And I was activated today because thinking about coming here and being on stage and with two fashion-focused people, and so a lot of my trauma, what remains for me is how I see my body and how I emotionally eat. And so I was very activated. He said he was going to talk to me, so I'm getting ahead of him. So before he talks about me, I was very activated in what I was wearing because there's a lot of stuff that goes on in my brain. And I'm very worried about how people see my body. I'm more worried how I see my own body. And I'm getting better, but that has been a super long journey. And for people who don't know, I used to be around 350.
Wow.
Yeah.
And the majority of that weight that I was carrying, that extra weight, was all my father's baggage. And my mother's baggage and all the things that happened prior intergenerationally. And that's what I figured out after I lost like 100+ pounds. So that's what activates me. Clothing, how it fits, how this world doesn't make clothes for my ass.
Your ass has a legacy.
Yes,
Just
it
remember that. Anybody who's listening to the podcast knows. Oh wait, did they hear that one yet? I hope they heard that one yet. You all didn't hear that yet. That's part of the New York one that she says my ass. But let me just say for the record, Roxann brought out this Nike jacket. We know that people who know us know that we're Nike fools or whatever. But this jacket is an $800 jacket that we got at Marshall's for $49.99. The tag is still on it. The tag is still on it, and I bought it for her, and I said, "You're gonna fit into this." And she was like, "I'm gonna wear it." She was like, "I'm gonna wear the jacket," because I was like, I just grabbed some pants from Zara or whatever, and she was like, "I'm gonna wear the jacket," and I was like, "What jacket are you talking about?" She's like, "No, the jacket," and I was like, "The motorcycle jacket?" Like,
How many years have we had this?
like
20?
20 years.
Never wore it.
Never wore it until
couldn't fit it.
right now.
Yes.
Look, the tag is still on the joint because we're always gonna remember that we bought it for $4.99. We bought it for $49.99. It was $879. You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, I love saving money.
Right?
Look, you have more time. We go shop at Primark, it'll be over. Look.
Listen.
I'm sorry, let's get back to this. No, we'll have to tell you about Primark because you're going to have to come back. We have to go shopping.
Damn, I'm in. I'm so
shopping
in.
for the baby. Okay. We got it. I'm sorry.
For the baby.
So next question is I've been cheated on in all but one relationship. I've taken all the blame and it harms my relationships. I want that to stop, but I don't have the tools. Any tips where to start?
Ooh. That hits me hard.
Yeah,
It really hits me hard because there's nothing worse than finding out you've been cheated on. But to find out numerous times, then that, and I'm just keeping it real here, that becomes an issue that you need to recognize about yourself because you're permitting these things to happen to you.
Right.
I mean, men, there's good men, there's bad men, but men are going to be men. How you deal with these situations when they come at you is one thing, but also how you screen and filter the men that you give your time to is everything.
Yes.
Right? So I feel like you and I are going to tag team this one, Roxann, right? I think the first thing is to just chill out from dating for a second. This is what I would do. And I would really spend that time that I sat here talking about with yourself and really go deep. And only you will know this answer, but to really figure out what is it that you feel you need in a relationship? What do you need versus what do you want?
Right.
And I would even, I like making lists because then I can read and see. But I would make a list of all of these men that you dated and write down what first attracted you. Like, why did you go for them? Was it stability? Was it something nice they said about you? Did they just compliment you? Was it the D? I don't know what it was. Just whatever it was, write it all down. And then what did you think you were going to get from them? Like, literally write down, did you think one was going to give you security? Did you think one was loyal? Did you think one was just like a good look on your arm? Whatever it may be. Love, right? And then this is the column to really pay attention to, is the red flags. Mm-hmm. Every time something goes wrong, I promise you, as a woman, your intuition the whole time was sitting there saying, bitch, I told you.
Right.
I told you.
You know,
but
that's
you don't
right.
listen.
Right.
And I wonder, to whoever wrote this question, for all those men, whenever, by the time you found out that they cheated on you, did you have red flags that really went off and told you that this ain't the one, or that this is something sus, whatever it may be? And at that point, I would really look at that list and I would see what I saw that attracted me. So you already know there's like this shiny thing that happens in relationships that make you like, ooh, I think that that's good for me. And then what did you really want from them that probably wasn't fulfilled, right? And then you got to be real with yourself to say, why didn't you listen to yourself in these red flags? And that's where you really have to have a conversation with yourself about why you don't pay attention to her inside there. Because every woman is built with a her who speaks to you, who calls you out. And when your intuition is really strong, like a muscle, you've got to work it out. When it's so strong, you not only know yourself well, but you know them too.
That's right.
You see them and you can just read it like a book if they're right or they're not, or if they're being real or they're not. So that's the first step I would do.
Yeah, get it, Roxann.
She got some roxmosis going
look.
on
Ooh,
too.
ooh.
Look, this is the episode of Hey Roxann. You know what I'm saying?
The only thing I'm going to say, because you did an excellent job, is that when you get that need list, figure out how you give yourself those needs first.
Ooh, facts.
Right? Practice. Ooh. We think that we don't have to practice shit. We don't have no relationship manual. We don't have no mother manual. No one gave us nothing. We learn we all are walking around with learned behaviors that can be unlearned.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
So when you do your need list, give yourself those things first and figure out what that means. Write about it, journal about it, do what you got to do. But give it to yourself first at least once, and then think about how you want to move forward. Because that list will get smaller, and you will only be needing a couple of things from somebody else, because you will be able to fulfill it for yourself. That's work you have to do. None of this relationship shit work, it doesn't happen without work. So you got to show up, having done some work.
Yeah, no, thank you all. We only got a couple of seconds left. Y'all really broke it.
That was beautiful, Roxann.
That was a good question.
That was really good.
Thank you for these questions. And it's pretty cool to have an iPad with questions, which is great. But Jeannie Mai, or I should say Jeannie, thank you so much for coming and being on the podcast. We just feel really blessed to have you, and I just feel like this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship and relationship. Like that's just how I feel. Maybe I'm lying to myself, but I don't think so. What do you think, Rox?
I don't think so. I think that we talked about it just before we were coming out here.
Yeah.
That this was in the making, right? This is what was supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And we talked together as if we didn't just meet. We talked like, I know you, right?
Hey,
What's
what's
up? Yeah. Right? We did that. And then we even had a moment, which I want to say Keith was running around, and Gina and I were in the back for a while, and we sat quietly with each other. Quiet. It was silent.
Yes.
But we were very comfortable, and our energy
and it felt safe.
Yes, it was vibing, And we just sat there quietly for a long time.
Yeah.
We didn't have to talk.
Yeah.
And that's how you know who you're in the company of.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's right. That's safety, right? And we don't always feel safe with a lot of people. So thank you for that. But big shout out to James Monroe for the work that he does and the belief that he had in me and this whole concept and the Museum of Science, because the museum is trying to do different things. And, we're having this conversation in the Museum of Science, y'all. Like, this is a big deal. This is a big deal. So thank you to the crew. Thank you to everybody else. But you've been listening to Living a Triggered Life podcast with Keith Mascoll,
Roxann Mascoll, and
Jeannie Mai Jenkins.
Hey. Presented by the Trigger Project.
And remember, you're no longer surviving, you're thriving, and you've earned that. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Let's have another hand for the Living a Trigger Life podcast with special guest Jeannie Mai Jenkins. Jeannie, Roxann, Keith, thank you for agreeing to be here at the Museum of Science and to share this really important and special conversation with all of us. I can't thank you enough. I feel like I have 3 new friends as well, so thank you. I want to say thank you to our friends.
Discounts at the museum.
Yeah!
Discount double check.
I want to say thank you to our friends at Science Sandbox for making tonight possible. Thank you to all of you for joining us and spending your Thursday night with us. We hope you will continue to do so all season long. We're going to end the virtual stream. We're going to say goodnight to our digital friends. Thank you for tuning in. And for all of you who are here in person, we're going to invite you to keep the party going with us, keep the conversation going. We have a reception that's going to happen right now, 1 floor down. The DJ is going to be spinning again. There's a step and repeat. We just ask you keep those masks fully on, except for actively eating or drinking, and we will see you down there. Thank you so much.